What is up, Hot Wheels racing fans? You're watching the NASCAR Nitro Series on the HSL Diecast Racing channel. And we got something brand new we've never done before on this channel. Straight line speed, Speedweeks. That's right. We'll be having the cars race down the track in a straight line with the electronic Hot Wheels timer to determine the seeding for the 2026 Nitro Series season. And you may ask, what does this seeding do? First of all, it sets up the qualifying for the Daytona 500 because nobody has points yet. Also, these seeding numbers will be used to set up the starting lineup for the B Series races and as tiebreakers for the cars that get eliminated in the round of 48, round of 24, and so on during qualifying. So here is all 90 cars. Each vertical column is a 6-car segment. There's 15 of them altogether for Speedweeks. The returning drivers are sorted by how high they finished in the points last season, followed by the rookies, who are sorted by alphabetical order. So let's get the 2026 NASCAR Nitro Series season officially underway with segment number 1, featuring your champion in the modified series, Burt Buzzard, Bobby Allison, Vinny Nightlife, and the rookies Deuce Andretti, Kid Charlemagne, and Rory. And the gates are down. Rory's left behind by the other 5. It's a tight pack heading towards the finish line, and it looks like it's going to be Burt Buzzard at the end, followed by Vinny Nightlife. Kid Charlemagne's going to be the 3 seed, Bobby Allison the 4th, Deuce Andretti the 5th, and Rory far behind in last. And now it's time for segment number 2. These are only going to be one lap, featuring your stock champion William, Jimbo Rockford, Sloppy Bear, the owner of Sloppy Bear Racing, Donald McSpadge, Kid Zach, and Sloppy Bear's rookie teammate Ruby. And looks like Jimbo Rockford's going to take this one. That's right, Jimbo Rockford wins it. And look at that, a 3-way tie for second place. That's right, a 3-way tie. We're going to have a 3-way race-off between William, Donald McSpadge, and Kid Zach for the all-important second tier, third tier, and fourth tier. The second and third tier are going to be on the inside lane in qualifying sessions for the Daytona 500. That'll make it a lot easier to qualify. And now the gates are down for the first tiebreaker of the session. They are all side-by-side, equally fast. They were all side-by-side at the finish. Looks like Donald McSpadge with just the very slightest advantage coming to the bottom of the ramp. It's going to be Donald McSpadge in lane 2, followed by Kid Zach and William, who will be in the 4th tier, have to start on the outside in qualifying. And now it's time for the third segment, featuring fan favorite Skeeter Davis, second place in the stock championship, also won a mods race in the stocks, alongside Puff, Sterling Marlin, who drove a field filler, and the rookies of Elias, Killa Kowalski, and Skidmark. And the gates are down. The other 5 cars are starting to leave Skidmark behind in the dust. Meanwhile, it's Skeeter Davis and Killa Kowalski starting to pull slightly away from the rest of the pack. It's going to be Skeeter Davis in lane 1 that takes it, Killa Kowalski to the second tier. And we've got another 3-way tie for third, fourth, and fifth. That third place finisher gets the all-important inside lane in Daytona 500 qualifying and a better starting spot if they have some bad luck and have to race their way in the B tier race. And it looks like it's going to be Sterling Marlin right now beating out his teammate Elias. Puff just a little bit off the pace, and it's going to be Sterling Marlin in that third tier for seeds 31 through 45. And up next, we have the 4th of 15 segments featuring Baby Richie and Crazy Ruby. Both of them won races last year. Bubba Wallace and the rookies of Flip Gambino, Lazy A, and Skidis Marcus. The gates are down once more. Skidis Marcus left behind in the dust. That's a winner's circle with stock wheels, I believe. And it's going to be Crazy Ruby by a hair, followed by Baby Richie and Flip Gambino. And now it's time for the 5th segment featuring Lucky Jackson, holder of the most second place finishes without a win, Riot Isaac, Ski Bob with 1 career start, as well as the rookies Fuel Tank Frank, Lucas Sattler Jr., and Slick Fitty. All 3 of whom representing first-time builders on the channel. And the gates are down. They're still side-by-side, about a foot down the track. Looks like Fuel Tank Frank is starting to fall behind the rest of the pack. And it's Lucas Sattler Jr. and Riot Isaac moving up to the front. And it looks like it's going to be Riot Isaac in lane number 2 that takes it. And for second place, it's going to be too close to call. Looks like Lucas Sattler Jr. just barely edges out Lucky Jackson to get into seeds 16 through 30. And now it's time for segment number 6. And starting in row 1 is going to be Gale Force, your winner at Texas Motor Speedway last year, Sparky Racer in the 59, Kyle Petty, who was a field filler, alongside the rookies of Jeff Bodine, Marcus Skidis, and Sonic in the number 51. And the gates are down. It looks like Kyle Petty, Gale Force, and Sonic are pulling away from the rest of the pack. And it's going to be Gale Force in row 1 that's going to take it. And a surprising 6th place finish for Sparky Racer, who got 14th in points last season. Now let's see if Gator McCluskey can avoid that same fate. He's going up against his teammate Po Boy, alongside Abby Normal, Nomeo, Murray for Lear Fixer Racing, as well as Stacy Compton for Highway 355. And now the gates are down, and it looks like Stacy Compton being left in the dust by the rest of the pack. And now look at this, the 2 Po Boy cars getting quite the challenge from Abby Normal, as well as Nomeo, but it's going to be Gator McCluskey that takes it. Po Boy in 2nd place, Abby Normal in 3rd. And up next for heat race number 8, we have Morgan Shepherd in row number 1, followed by Violet, who finished 16th in the stock point standings, and the rookies of Amber Beach for Flips Racing, Jim Douglas driving the legendary Love Bug, Olukayode Osisanya Sr. in the number 2 Blue Deuce pickup truck, and finally Tails never fails, for Rancid Cactus Racing. And the gates are down there halfway down the track, and it's going to be Amber Beach by a full car length in such a short distance in row number 3. And Morgan Shepherd takes 2nd place by literally half a milliliter, as you can see here in this zoomed in screenshot. And now for the 9th race, we have on the outside Gray, sporting a brand new pickup truck. Next to him, Lord Shank, Atomic Bob, JJ Smooth for Puff Racing, Aluka Yode Osisanya Jr., and Ted Musgrave, who made 1 start in the 2024 NASCAR Nitro Series looking for some redemption. And look at this, Lord Shank and JJ Smooth, but now it's Ted Musgrave running away with the rest of the field. And now look at Atomic Bob picking up speed. Who's it going to be, Bob or Ted Musgrave? And it's going to be Atomic Bob by a fraction of a millimeter. Another poor performance from a big name last year. Greg gets 5th place. Let's see if Tristan Racewelski or J-Bo can avoid that same fate. Next to them, we have FPD's Bishop Petty, one of Demon Preacher's new drivers, John Trent, as well as Racer Gnome and Thomas Elliott for FPD Racing as well. I'm sorry, Bishop Petty is for Flips Racing, Thomas Elliott is for FPD. They're both affiliated with the Low Country Diecast Racing League. I might get him confused later on. I think it's going to be Thomas Elliott. No, it's Bishop Petty. A dead heat for 1st and a dead heat for 3rd. It looks like John Trent begins to push the timing peg a split second before J-Bo, and that's the difference with an inside lane and an outside lane in Daytona 500 qualifying. And now it's time for opening heat number 11. Starting in row 1 is going to be Harry Hoon. Next to him, Rowan in the number 3 Monte Carlo. That's Thunderbolt Joe in the Superbird with white stripes. Ratha in the 05, Johnny Benson in the 26, and Blaze Thunderstruck in the 88. And no surprise here, it's Harry Hoon for Cut Rock Creek Racing. Takes the crown in this segment. And Rowan for Uncle Elvis takes 2nd place. But look at this, a 3-way tie for that all-important 3rd spot on the inside row at Daytona. Let's take a closer look right here. They are all side by side, heading to the line. And that means we have a 3-way tiebreaker race between Thunderbolt Joe and the Uncle Elvis teammates of Johnny Benson and Ratha. The gates are now down for the tiebreaker race. And it looks like Thunderbolt Joe so far gets the best start. And this time it's going to be Thunderbolt Joe and Johnny Benson. But look at this, Johnny Benson starts to pull away by a bumper length. And it's going to be Johnny Benson at the line. Johnny Benson takes the 3rd place spot. Thunderbolt Joe in the 4th tier. And Ratha in the 5th. And now it's time for segment 12. In lane 1 is Misty G for Puffs Racing, who led in points the 1st quarter of the season. Then after her is Uncle Elvis alongside Yorn, Remy 12 gauge. It's Chewy for Uncle Elvis Racing as well as Tick Drickle. And now take a look at this, a 4-way race now. Trick Dickle, Misty G, and Remy 12 gauge side by side. Misty G pulls away from the rest of the crowd, and it's going to be Misty G taking it for Puffs Racing. And look at this, we got our first DNF of the day. The Toon Superbird, that's Chewy. Those exhaust pipes on the side are too thick. They'll have to be shaved down. Right now, it's a DNQ for Daytona and the number 90 seed. Now with just 3 segments to go, in row 1, we have Johnson Jr. Next to him is Gale and Cooter Smith for Stupid Fish Racing, as well as the 17 and 4 of Twinkie Jake and Karate Joe, replacing Far Out Jay for In-Laws Racing. It looks like it's going to be Gale. 3 drivers from In-Laws Racing here. Gale wins, Richard Petty 2nd, Johnson Jr. 3rd, Twinkie Jake is 4th. I'm sorry, the white one is Karate Joe. He gets 4th place. And Twinkie Jake should have known it's not smart to eat junk food before a race. He comes out 6th place. And now we have just 2 segments left to go on row number 1. We have Gazza won 2 races last year. Next to him, Gavin McSpadge, Cowell Petty in the 45. We have Rick Mast in the 6, Carl Recco in the 21, and finally the 24 of William Byron for Timber Creek Racing. The gates are down. Gavin McSpadge gets left behind in the dust. It's going to be a 2-car race between Gazza and Cal Petty. Meanwhile, it's clear William Byron's going to take third, but who's going to get it? I think it's going to be Cal Petty in the 3rd lane. Yes. Lane 3 wins. That's going to be Cal Petty. Gazza 2nd, William Byron 3rd, Rick Mast, Carl Recco, and finally Gavin McSpadge. And now we have our 15th and final set of cars for the first round of Speedweeks. On row number 1 is Coffee Tart, the legend of Sub 4 RA and Lord Shanks channels, looking for her first career win. Next to her is Russ from In-Laws Racing. Then in rows 3 and 4, Cyan and Kenzie, a pair of Sloppy Bears rookies. And finally, the 53 of R.J. McCready for Demon Preacher Racing, and the 18 of Zard for Uncle Elvis. And it's a 2-car race between Zard and Coffee Tart. It's going to be Coffee Tart. The experience is going to win out on row number 1. R.J. McCready takes 3rd. The field takes form in a V-shaped formation with Cyan, the odd man, or in this case, woman, out. Coffee Tart, once again, W of round 1. And now we're moving on to the second round. 5 6th-place finishers racing. It's going to be Skidis Marcus that takes the first one, and look at that. Ruby just barely beats out Blaze Thunderstruck, and since we had a DNF, Twinkie Jake's going to take the last race of round 2 for the 6th-place finishers. And here's how it's now going to work in the 3rd round for each of these tiers. On the 3 upper lanes, where the 92 and the 44 are, those are the 3 5th-place finishers, normally where the 5th-place finishers would go. And now here we have the 3rd-place finishers in the upper 3 lanes and the 2nd-place finishers in the lower 3 lanes. Those go to Racer Gnome and Gavin McSpadge for the 6th tier. And finally, the 1st-place finishers in those 3 races. It's Skidis Marcus in the 31. And now here we have the first of the 3 5th-place races. That was won by Deuce Andretti. I'm not sure how he's even in the 5th tier. And here's our second one. Looks like Ratha's going to run away with that one in the 4th lane. And here's our final race. Puff's got to be the favorite. And it's going to be a race between Puff and Marcus Skidis. And it is Puff that takes it. Now here's your 4th and 5th place finishers in the 5 tier. It looks like Murray and Slick Fitty take that. And now for the 3rd and 2nd place finishers, that's Marcus Skidis and Lazy A. Now for the 1st place finishers of the 5 tier. And it's a 3-way tie almost, but it's Deuce Andretti that takes it. Now a tiebreaker between Ratha and Puff because they were side by side. As you've seen on the replay, it looks like it's going to be Ratha by a bumper lane. And now we have the first of our 3 second-round heats by our Tier 4 drivers, starting with Karate Joe and J-Bo, Nomeo, and Kid Charlemagne. And this time, Kid Charlemagne's going to take it. It looks like Nomeo can't get out of first gear there. Now it's time for race number 2, though. William on the inside, Ski-Bob, and it's Rick Mast with the Winston Cup experience that takes it. Now finally for Tier 4 race number 3, it's going to be Elias that takes it. As we head into round 3 for the 4th place finishers, it's going to be JJ Smooth for the 5th placers, Tails for the 4th placers, Bubba Wallace for the 3rds, and J-Bo for the 2nds. And now for your 1st place finishers, it's going to be Rick Mast that takes that 36 seed. And now it's time for the first year 3rd place finishers, and it's going to be, I believe that was Baby Richie, with a tiebreaker between John Trent and Abby Normal for lane 1, and that was too close to call. And the magical talking finish line said it was lane 1, so that means John Trent won. So did Jim Douglas driving the legendary Love Bug. For race number 2, and it looks like it's going to be John Trent by a bumper length with a pair of Uncle Elvis teammates racing for a tiebreaker. Kyle Petty and Sterling Marlin, both teammates at Uncle Elvis Racing and Sabco. And now for the 4th and 5th place finishers of Tier 3, the gates are down. It's going to be William Byron for the 4ths and Kid Zach for the 5ths. And looks like we have a very slight edge for 2nd place in the 5ths to Johnson Jr. The gates are down for the 2nds and 3rds, which is taken by John Trent for the 2nds. But the 3rds are a dead heat between Lucky Jackson and Kyle Petty. And Kyle Petty's going to get it this time. As we head into the first race for the 2nd place finishers, Vinny Nightlife left behind in the dust there. As Flip Gambino wins race number 1, it's going to be Remy 12 gauge that takes it over Sonic for race number 2. And here's race number 3 for the 2nd place finishers. And it's Lucas Sattler Jr. by a hair. Dead heat for 3rd place at the end of that lap. And it's going to be Gazza slightly at the edge there. It is Gazza. Winner lane 1. And here's the race for the 4th and 5th place finishers. And it looks like it's Sawyer. All three are Uncle Elvis racing cars. It's going to be Richard Petty and Ted Musgrave. Richard Petty takes second place for the fourth place finishers, moves up one tier over his teammate. And here are your second and third place finishers. And boy, was that a close one. All six cars really fast coming to the line. And it's Thomas Elliott for the seconds, Gaza for the thirds. And here are your three first place finishers in the second tier. And it's going to be Remy 12 gauge that gets that 16th seed. And now it's time for your 15 first place finishers, the winners of each of the original segments. We're going to slow it down just like the original segments here. This is the cream of the crop. I think next year I might split this into two videos as Crazy Ruby takes that first race. The slow-mo is just so much easier to commentate on. As you can see, Bishop Petty takes second there. And here's the next group of first place finishers. The gates are down. All five of these cars are really fast. Looks like Harry Hoon's getting left behind in the dust, though. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be Cowell Petty. Besides the screen saying winner lane 5, let's see the freeze frame here. And it is Kyle Petty, not Kyle Petty, Cowell Petty. Cowell, like Simon Cowell. Not Kyle, like the real NASCAR driver. He drives for Uncle Elvis. Amber Beach takes second there. And now it's time for the final race of round 2 for your segment winners. And halfway down the ramp, we don't have a clear leader yet. Is it going to be Coffee Tart or is it going to be Misty or Skeeter? It says winner lane number 4. That's Misty G for Puffs Racing. Moving on to the first place, the final 3. Getting first or second in these races is huge because that gets you bonus points. It's going to be Coffee Tart in second place there. Here's your 5th and 4th place finishers for your segment winners. These cars are still really fast. Don't be surprised if some of these 6 cars get a win this season. And it's the Cut Rock Creek teammates that outrun the competition this season, including your defending champion, Burt Buzzard. And yes, it is indeed Burt Buzzard for the 4th, Harry Hoon for the 5th. And now it's time for another tiebreak to determine the 11th and 12th seeds, and Riot Isaac takes it over. And now for the thirds, we're going to race them separately and in slow motion. These guys have earned it by winning their first segments. Skeeter Davis, Gator McCluskey, and Jimbo Rockford. It's going to be Jimbo Rockford in the middle lane that takes it. And that is for the 7, 8, and 9 seed. And now it's your second place finishers in the second round of your segment winners. These guys are going to get 10 points for third, 20 points for second, and 25 points to win this race. The gates are down. Bishop Petty with a slight lead over the other two. The scoreboard says Bishop Petty wins, but who gets second, who gets third? It is too close to tell between Coffee Tart and Amber Beach. Let's zoom in, take a look at the freeze frame. And it's too close to tell even with the zoomed in screenshot. We got to go to a tiebreaker race. This could determine points, and it's going to be Amber Beach by a nose. And now the last race of the day, what you've all been waiting for. The finale to see who wins Speedweeks. Cowell Petty, Misty G, and Crazy Ruby. And it's going to be Cowell Petty by a bumper length, Misty G in second, Crazy Ruby in third. That's 50, 40, and 30 points for first, second, and third in that race. Cowell Petty is your Speedweeks winner in lane number 2. And now let's take a look at the freeze frame. It's Cowell Petty, Misty G in second, and Crazy Ruby in third. Great job, all 6 of these drivers. Y'all built some fast cars. Here's the 6-car podium. All 6 of you are getting bonus points, including 50 for your Speed Week winner, Cowell Petty, in the 45 Chevy Monte Carlo for FPD Racing. We got FPD Racing here once, Puffs Racing as well, and a pair of teammates from Flips Racing and a pair of teammates from Cut Rock Creek Racing. And here are your total seeds, 1 through 90. Cowell Petty, Misty G, Crazy Ruby, Bishop Petty Jr. You can read down the list. The top 45 seeds have a huge advantage going into the Daytona 500. They have inside starting lanes for qualifying. No more card draws, no more random draws, no more fast cars getting shafted by drawing a 2 or a 3 while a slower car draws an ace. No more of that. Killa Kowalski to William Byron, 21 through 40. And when I said the competition is fierce, and there's a good 65, 70 cars that would be competing for podiums in the 2024 series, I was not exaggerating. Take a look at how fast these cars are next to each other in a straight line. 41 through 60. Lord Shank gets that important final 45th seed. Kid Charlemagne misses it by a bumper lane. And now 60 cars are going to be in the Crown Jewel races, 50 in the normal races. So these seedings are going to matter, especially in the early parts of the season. Here is 61 through 90. Chewy gets the 90 seed for DNFing in the first round. Stacy Compton, 89th. And like I said, these seedings are going to be used for Daytona 500 qualifying matchups, also to set the lineups of the B Series races, and also for tiebreakers. The 3 fastest seeds that finish second in the qualifying lap become cars 46, 47, and 48 in the round of 48, as well as tiebreakers for the cars that get eliminated that are locked in the round of 48, 24, and so on. So here's your official point standings with these bonus points. Cowell Petty Jr., your tentative points leader, 10 points over Misty G. 7th place tied with all the other drivers, except for Blaze Thunderstruck, who had a weight penalty of -8 points. If you have any questions about this, about the format, leave a comment. I'll be glad to answer. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. We'll see you out there on the track.